All right, welcome back to another Wright Stew podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I am Brian Wright, still on Monday morning. Good weekend, great football weekend for us, Paulie, if you were not pulling for, the Buffalo Bills and the Commanders.
Yep, that's right. Hey, the dynasty dream continues and lives on. We have a shot at the first ever NFL three-peat. Congratulations to both the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles on making it to the Super Bowl. So we'll see both of them for the second time in 3 years matching up. The Chiefs won Super Bowl 57 with the 38-35 score a couple years ago. And we're right back at it. So
I got a question for you, Paulie. A lot of. Let's just start with the Eagles Commanders game. A lot of tush pushes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there a thought that we can get rid of that? Is there a thought that it's not really? It feels like a rugby play.
Why do you want to get rid of it, Brian?
Say that again.
Why do you want to get rid of it?
Because they're doing it and they're better and nobody can stop it. I really think the Eagles could do it like every play down. They get 3 yards each time.
Oh, you're saying they could just do it? I would like to see them try it.
Dude, it's just such not. I mean, they were down on the goal line and the Commanders kept jumping off sides, and then they were getting threatened for a penalty. It said they were making up rules I'd never even heard of with the NFL. Like, hey, if they continue to jump off sides, we're going to give them an automatic touchdown. And it's like, dude, they're not doing this on purpose. It's like, I don't know. I would like to really look at it because honestly, it hasn't always been the case to where you could push your other teammate. Yeah. I almost think there needs to be a rule, and clearly
under your own volition, you have to achieve this without assistance from another teammate. I kind of agree with that.
But I kind of like it when I see like a big fat lineman, not fat, they're strong, they're humongous, pulling like a running back. I just hate to see it from that. A lot of times they'll have 2 guys pushing him on each cheek. He's pushing 600 pounds. Him and Saquon both supposedly squatting 600 pounds.
Yeah.
So again, I was I was pulling for the Commanders, or at least I found myself pulling for the Commanders. And so,
there was a little talk of the past couple of years about, hey, how can we ban this? How can we outlaw it? How can we change it to make it a little more fair? And realistically, the Eagles just do it better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Not everybody. And we've started to see more and more of it. And I think it's an effective play. I would be curious if they got the ball like on the 30 and just did that play
every single time, all the way down.
That would be just a fun thing to watch. I
think it would be fun to see one time, Paul.
Yeah, one time.
More than once. It's terrible.
Well, it reminded me of a few years ago when the Panthers were like without a quarterback.
Yeah.
And they just ran the Wildcat the entire time. I think it was either the Saints or the Falcons. It was towards the end of the year. And D'Angelo Williams was just running Wildcat, and they had a lot of crosses and kind of fake handoffs, kind of RPO sort of thing. But it's a very effective plan. We've seen a lot of teams adopt it in the NFL. The NFL is known as the copycat league. If something works, hey, let's all do it. See it in the college game now. And a lot of times now you see like tight ends starting to take the snap as well, which is pretty.
I've seen that some. I think it's again, they do it so well. I just don't, I don't know. It's just so weird. The Commanders couldn't have played any worse. Ended up having 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
Jalen still had a good game. Daniel still played pretty well. Just too many turnovers to overcome. Obviously, the score was outrageous.
Yeah, fumbles.
Yeah.
Man, the Commanders had that first drive that was 18 plays, moved the ball down, went for it on 4th down a couple times, got those. And then, Will Shipley runs the kickoff back to the 40, and then they do that pitch play, and Barkley scores on a 60-yard run first play. And it was like, ooh, buddy. You could feel it, Commanders, because it just felt like, man, this is the Eagles. And the Commanders played it close much of the first half, and then those turnovers, man. And the Eagles did what good teams do. They executed and scored off the turnovers.
No, that's the game right there. I mean, you said it. I felt like Hurts had probably his best performance in a month. He played well, throwing the ball and running the ball.
Yeah.
Saquon was Saquon, and I mean, every time you watch this game, I mean, if you were a Giants fan, could you even watch the Eagles play?
Gosh, that's tough, man.
I don't think I could. Like, if Saquon want to come from the Panthers, and he was doing that, and we decided we wanted to pay a quarterback that we eventually cut the next year before the season was over.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I mean, the Panthers are going through some of that with McCaffrey to the 9, and McCaffrey's been hurt, but he's had a couple of decent years over there, and
yeah,
all the draft stuff and Bryce Young not working out.
Bryce Young's making that turn. I'm saying I'm not going to call it now.
I mean, yeah, but in the short term, it's a pretty bad situation, but not been great. But so the Eagles, executed, did really well. Jalen Hurts kind of had the reins kind of unleashed, I guess, and started getting the ball down the field a little more. Started run, looked a lot more comfortable than he has the past few weeks. You're right, Brian, and really good to see. And encouraging, certainly for Philadelphia fans, to know that he hopefully is back and is at kind of playing towards peak as they head into a couple weeks off and into the Super Bowl. So that was good to see. And then man, the Chiefs Bills game just came down to the Chiefs making one more play than the Bills did. And Patrick Mahomes continues to show why he's on his way to maybe being the greatest quarterback of all time, right? Just continues to win, continues to make the right passes. And Josh Allen, I mean, played as hard. And the Bills didn't play a bad game. They had the one pass at the end when they disguised the coverage and went on a corner blitz. Josh Allen threw kind of a fade away off the back foot, and it went right through the tight end's arms. I mean, like that ball, I don't want to say should be caught, but probably should be caught. I mean, that ball was through his arms, and I think in retrospect, he looks back and says, "I catch that. I should catch that ball." But what did you think of that one, Brian?
So I feel like Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator, I feel like that game, it's one of two things, and it's hard to say from, we have no insight really, but
Yeah.
either Josh Allen doesn't have that clutch gene, which it's hard for me to say that watching him play. It's hard for me to say that he doesn't. I think he does. Or Kansas City Chiefs are just so much better coached and play from a play caller standpoint that they put Mahomes in much better situations. Early on in that game, Mahomes was running the RPO, getting the ball out of his hand really quickly. Yeah. Josh Allen it looked like they were trying to get everything down the field. And Kansas City's defense don't get a whole lot of credit, but Kansas City's defense is very legit with Chris Jones pushing up the field, rushing, McDuffie, the really good lockdown corner. So I feel like they got out-coached more so than anything else. I mean, Kansas City had a turnover. Patrick Mahomes, I don't think they've turned the ball over since like November sometime. I think this is more of an indication of you got a really good coach, almost like New England did, honestly.
Yeah.
You have a really good coach, and you got a really special quarterback who understands how to win. And that combination together is really tough for everybody else. I mean, Josh Allen statistically played pretty well. I felt like he could have thrown early in that game, Paul. He could have thrown about 3 picks, though. I mean, he looked rattled. Also thought was interesting, I heard a little interview talking about, hey, what he does pregame. And it seemed like it was every game. He throws up before every game.
I used to do that before games I pitched.
You would throw up?
Yeah.
I can't relate to that. I cannot relate to that at all. I never have felt. Was it anxiety, nerves? Was it excitement?
It was. I think it's similar to a quarterback as a starting pitcher, and not when I was when I was a starter. You play once every 5 days, right? As a starting pitcher, similarly to a quarterback, you're playing once a week, and as a starting pitcher, you're getting to the field later. And literally, it's such a mental grind. Like I would just sit in my apartment and just think about the game all day. I would do dry mechanics. I couldn't eat a lot. Like I would eat something from around like probably 11, like chicken breast, some rice, something kind of light. And then I would just eat like, those freezy pops you get in the summer? Like I would just
Oh
eat
yeah, yeah,
those.
yeah, yeah. I called them ices. Yeah,
Icy pops, from
yeah.
the frozen sugar water. I would just eat those all day because I couldn't put real food down. And then I would just think about the game. And then, I, and it, some of it was I kind of felt like I didn't want to let the team down. I wanted to perform. And then usually I'd find somewhere in the tunnel on the way down, or a trash can, or a bathroom, and it wasn't like a huge like vomit like stuff on it, but more kind of like a little dry heave and just some coughing. And then once I got it out, it kind of felt better, and it went out. And
Every start.
90% of, probably. I mean,
And did that happen to you in high school or
no, not
just
in
when
high
you got to
school.
pro ball?
It was more pro ball. And it was a couple years into pro ball, really, when it kind of started sinking in that, like, oh, this is
A
this
big
is my
deal.
yeah, this is something that I definitely really, and I always cared about it. But I mean, I think just the mental aspect and the levity of it all kind of just sank in. But it was, yeah, man, every every start. And then
Wow.
for a couple years I was taking like Xenadrin and stuff like that to really amp me up, and I was like taking the pills and just putting them right on my tongue, the powder and everything. That probably
Did
messed with
your
me.
how did your teeth hold up? I feel like a dentist would be like, "Hey, the acidity from your stomach, has
I
done
think
some
they're
damage."
good. I don't. My dentist always has a great. I've had one cavity in my life, so
So you got good enamel, which is encouraging.
maybe. I
Um,
don't know.
I mean, yeah, if you throw, I mean, that's you throwing up 30 times a year,
Yeah,
or like
basically.
8 years or 7 years. How long were you a starter, Paulie?
Like 9 of 10 years, basically.
Yes, it's 9 years. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
but
Incredible.
yes, I didn't know Josh Allen and I shared that. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, y'all do share. I was looking at it as that's probably not a sign that your quarterback can control his nerves. And he looked like he felt the weight that when that game first started, he looked like he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders. And he
I'm sure he
wasn't.
did. Yeah, I'm sure he
And
did.
I think that is the difference between he's obviously a great talent, great player, probably stays healthy, a future Hall of Famer. But there is something to being able to control that mind to where I feel like Patrick never, even though he fumbled tonight, it was kind of on a funky exchange. Um, he never looks sped up.
Yeah,
Sometimes he looks like he's in a hurry, but he never looks sped up, and that's
and
something
here's
too.
and here's the thing, man. That the AFC is going to be so tough for the
Oh
next
yeah, dude, you got Lamar and dude, I mean it's incredible. Yeah,
Lamar, and then like Joe Burrow kind of had a down year, right?
he
But
apparently is the only one who's cool enough to beat Patrick. He's the only
yeah,
one who doesn't play stupid whenever he plays against Kansas
when
City.
he gets a chance, yeah. But I mean, I think they actually had a little better season than people give them credit for, right? The Bengals ended up 9-8.
Oh yeah, they ended up and dude, they gave away like 4 games of their. There were,
Yeah.
yeah, they gave away 4 games and he
And
scored like
then
40 points or something stupid and they still lost. I mean, it
yeah,
was.
and then you'll have like CJ Stroud, who knows what he becomes. Justin Herbert still hasn't turned the corner. Bo Nix is maybe on
But
the cusp.
how I would agree with Herbert, but he kind of I don't want to say he is what he is because I
He's
do
like
think
Josh
there's some
Allen
magic.
light kind of.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's fair. That's fair.
But again, it's not to get to this title game. This title game, you just don't know how many more times you're going to have these shots, right? So, and
Right.
again, just speaking to the strength of the AFC right now and the young quarterbacks in the AFC, man, like a really cool time to be watching the
And you
NFL.
feel like New England's going to get better, right? And
Yeah.
so, I mean, Vrabel up there, we think their QB's got a chance to be pretty decent. I still like their backup QB, but yeah, dude, it was. I was disappointed. Both of the teams I was pulling for, hoping not as strongly as Commander. I wasn't pulling quite as strongly for the Commanders, but I was pulling for them and pulling pretty hard for Buffalo. So yeah, yeah, kind of feel a little down about the Super Bowl prospects.
Yeah. So the Chiefs will be going for the first ever NFL three-peat. So the Packers had kind of a pseudo three-peat. So they won the first two Super Bowls, but prior to that, they won the championship games. They weren't technically
Right.
the Super Bowl, so they actually won like five in a row. But this will be the first ever actual three-peat, right?
And
So
it's Super Bowl, what, 59? Is that right, Paulie?
59, yeah, this will be 59.
That's
So
incredible.
they'll have won 57, 58, and potentially 59. A few other notable three-peats in other sports.
Yeah.
NBA, the Bulls did it twice in the 90s, 91 through 93, and then 96 through 98. Probably would have done it, yeah, for all those years had Jordan not went and done baseball for that year. Lakers, the Shaq and Kobe 2000 and 2002 teams. And then the Celtics with Bill Russell, 59 through 66. And the Minneapolis Lakers in 52 through 54. Baseball has happened a few times. The Yankees did it three times, most recently 98 to 2000.
Yeah.
And the Oakland A's did it in 72 through 74. So
Wow.
in the major sports, those are the big ones. But certainly the NBA seems like it's the most suited for a three-peat because it's really, yeah, you get two or three players and that they dominate the ball and can really dominate the game.
Agreed.
And NFL, baseball seem a little tougher, a little more of just a little more of a gauntlet to run through and just tougher
Well,
to do.
with who the Dodgers have signed, I know this ain't really supposed to be about baseball, but they're going to be hard to compete against the next 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, however long they're paying guys. I mean, it's incredible. So anyway, yeah.
It's gonna be
I
something
mean,
else.
maybe I do pull for history. The Eagles were kind of my team when I was a kid. I was a Randall Cunningham fan.
Yeah.
Byers, the little tight end, I used to like. Joyner, a little linebacker, I used to like. So my dad was a Redskins fan before the Panthers, and obviously the Panthers didn't come till I was, 15, 16 years old. So I was a Panthers fan before. But man, there's something about their fan base makes it almost like some of these college teams. They're easy to pull against. They're easy not to like.
Have you ever been to a game in Philly?
No, you just
Okay.
hear
Well, so
stories.
I went to one. It's probably been 13 years ago or so. Was in Philadelphia for a work thing, and flew in the Sunday before, and got to go see. It was the Eagles versus Lions, and I went with a work colleague, and I was kind of excited because I'd heard all this stuff. You hear all the stories, and so we got there early. We were just us two, like work, so we weren't tailgating or anything. We were just kind of hanging out, and yeah, pretty normal atmosphere from all the
Yeah,
other NFL and college games I've been to. Kind of what you would expect. And then so they're playing the Lions. The Eagles had the game in hand, but ended up losing a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. And there was a handful of Lions fans at the game, and we were sitting in what was deemed the family section. I think it was like actually like specifically. And this Lions fan, Calvin Johnson, I think caught the touchdown to take the lead, and guy in a Calvin Johnson jersey was like 3 or 4 rows in front of him. He jumps up, and is like, yeah, he's cheering for the team. This guy runs over from like 3 sections over. I kind of see him stand up, walk down, and kind of briskly walk over, gets in the guy's face in the Calvin Johnson jersey, and I can't hear the exchange, but it looked like basically something along the lines of, if you cheer for this guy again, I'm going to punch you in the throat. Don't cheer for the Lions while you're here in Philadelphia. And then the guy walked back, and the Eagles fan or the Lions fan sat down. So it was, other than the other traumatic experience in that game, while the national anthem was going on, the lady behind me dropped her hot dog on my shoulder. Again, this was the work trip. We were there for like 3 days. I brought one pullover, like a jacket, because it was like September, October, so it wasn't cold yet, but I had a pullover. And it was my favorite pullover. She dropped a hot dog on my left shoulder,
how
mustard,
long did you think
relish.
it was like a penis,
No,
or you were clear it was a hot
I
dog?
saw it hit my shoulder and roll to the front of my, but no, so a hot dog roll and mustard relish. So it was stained. They're like, oh, let's buy you a beer. Let's buy you a beer. I'm like, I don't drink, dude. I don't.
Yeah,
That doesn't.
that would have helped me a little bit. I can't imagine. And
Do you want to buy me
yeah,
a new pullover? Can you? No.
yeah, buy me a new pullover, probably
I
about the
just
same
played it
price.
cool. I was like, it was clearly an accident because the hot dog cost probably like $15 or whatever it
That's
was.
right.
They weren't mean.
And you were probably wearing neutral colors. It sounds
It
like
was
you
a
weren't
gray.
like,
It was a light
yeah,
like heather gray pullover. I don't remember what t-shirt, but yeah, probably jeans and tennis shoes. Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. You weren't pulling for the Lions. Yeah,
Nah,
you just
no,
want
I
to
wasn't.
experience it. Yeah.
But so the lady just dropped. I was like, man. So then I think I ended up just going no pullover the rest of the week. It was chilly, but anyway. So that was my Eagles experience. But excited, hey, excited for the rematch, man. This will be good.
Hey, I saw where it was Kobe Bryant's 10 year since he had passed away.
Five
Does
years,
it
5 years
5 years?
yesterday. Yeah, 5 years
So
yesterday.
it hasn't been. It's in some ways it feels longer. Obviously, I said 10 originally, but in
Yeah.
some ways it doesn't seem that long at all, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, man. Just clearly a tragic event 5 years ago, and a lot of his stuff, continues to live on. You hear a lot of Mamba mentality and who he was as a competitor and as an athlete. A lot of people still say, "Hey, he was the reason I became an NBA player, and he was kind of who was my guy," that sort of thing. So still a lot of positive things going on. And I think you were mentioning there's a special that somebody's running right now.
Yeah, well, CNN is running one, and I haven't seen it, but I do know they kind of go through his whole story and the Colorado incident.
Yeah.
They bring that up pretty heavily, and they have police reports, and it's like, dude, I don't know. When somebody's passed away, I just feel like I know that's part of his story, but it's like I don't know, man. He can't defend himself at this point. I just don't like that a ton. I tell you what, though, just thinking, like, has there ever been somebody that has copied somebody else like he did Jordan? I mean,
Kobe and Jordan, yeah.
yeah, I mean, he clearly had obsessed, and magically he grew to about the same size. And I know his dad was kind of a marginal. I mean, he was a marginal NBA, maybe a Europe player.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing somebody of. I mean, I can't even in baseball like windups and batting stances. Like you would try to copy those guys, but there's never been somebody that's like. Obviously, he watched every film of Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
and not only did he watch it, he looks like if you just squint your eyes a little bit and can't tell, some of the facial features, they look exactly the same. It's
A lot of
incredible.
a
I
lot
mean,
of the same mannerisms and the
they've done.
fader, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the videos and like, hey, this is Jordan doing it in '94, and this is Kobe doing it in
Oh, 4,
2004,
yeah.
and it's just like on the exact same spot on the floor, exact same moves, exact same. It's just incredible that somebody was able to obsess so much and truly make again a very close copy. Jordan's obviously still the best in my mind, but a
Yeah.
very close copy of Michael Jordan. So
Yeah, Kobe, great player, man. And so very, very sad on the 5 years anniversary of his.
and his daughter was with him too. I
Yeah.
just can't imagine. Yeah, I mean it was her siblings and his wife. I mean I just can't. There can't be a day or two that don't go by that you don't think
No.
about it, and I can't imagine. Can't imagine.
No, that's crazy. So, yeah, so certainly continue to think about Kobe and what he meant to the NBA and the athletic world. But Brian, got an update for you. We got
Yes.
the 50 and 15 challenge.
Yes.
We picked up another state. We got Arkansas.
Yes. I feel like we should have Arkansas.
We got Arkansas. So we've got
Arkansas.
Arkansas. I'm going to tell you the ones we have left. And for our listeners out there, hey, we need you reaching out. We've got some irons in the fire, but we need your help. We need your
Yes.
help. Here's what we got left: New Mexico, Nevada,
Yeah.
Alaska,
Yeah.
Washington, Montana, Wyoming, North South Dakota, Iowa, Kentucky, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Delaware.
So that's about 15, right? We're at 35.
Yeah,
Like.
that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, we need some help there. Need some help there. I'm encouraged. So honestly, when you put this little challenge out, I was like, well, who's going to do it? I mean, people who listen are listening. How is this going to help anything, right? Who are we challenging people to drive somewhere and listen? But no, it's been much. It's done much better than I anticipated.
Yeah. So if you're one of those border states, hey,
Take a trip.
Go find them. Go find them and give them a call and tell them to listen to the Right Suit podcast. So, hey, thank you all for listening. Hey, we hope you have a great week, great sports week. We'll be bringing great content this week. We look forward to that. Have a great day.
Out. Go Pack.